All right, guys, welcome back. So today is day 2 of learning 2. So yesterday we kind of started talking about learning hopelessness, which when I get back, I'll teach that one. So what I want to do is our final learning strategy, which is going to be observational learning. Now, observational learning is learning new behavior by watching a model perform other behavior. Now, when we do observational learning, we do it all the time. The way you're dressed, the way you do your hair, the way you do your makeup, the way you walk, the way you talk, is all based on observational learning. No one has told you how to get dressed today. I mean, your mom told you how to put your pants on and how to put your shirt on, and your dad taught you how to tie your shoes and all those types of things. But I doubt they're picking out your outfits and you're wearing it today. You're wearing what you think looks cool to other people. Whether someone said that, oh, wow, hey, I really like your shirt, or, any of those types of things, you haven't gotten made fun of, which means, hey, someone likes it, or I'm not being picked on, so I'm going to keep wearing it. That's observational learning. Now, if you look around, most of you are wearing Converse shoes, okay? Most of you are wearing them. And it's funny because I'm not even in the room, and I know most of you are. Most of you are wearing oversized shirts. Okay, I'm not even here, and yes, I do know that. All right. Now, the reason why I know that is because A, you always wear them, and B, it is part of the culture. It is the acceptable style here at Plant High School. I can tell you right now at other high schools, they do not look this homeless. And I mean this with as much love. But your oversized shirts, your short running shorts, all right, and the boys are just wearing t-shirts and athletic shorts. Not all populations look like this. And the reason why here at Plant High School you all look like this is because that is what you've learned to do. And that is observational learning. No one has said, oh my God, when you go to Plant, you wear baggy running shorts and a super baggy shirt that your dad could wear. That's not really a conversation. However, when you showed up freshman year, you start seeing all the upperclassmen dressing like this, and that's exactly what you wear. I can tell you right now, your freshman year, you didn't show up looking like this. By the mid of your freshman year, you started dressing like this, and that is observational learning. No one directly told you what to wear, but here you are wearing what everyone else is wearing. Observational learning. It is probably what I would consider the most influential. How we wear, like for instance, everyone here has been made fun of for wearing something, saying something, doing something. Because of that, you've never done it again. Okay, if you wore your favorite outfit one day and it was like the greatest thing, and you were so proud of yourself and you went to school and you immediately got made fun of, guess what you never wore to school ever again? That outfit. Observational learning. Okay, if you see someone who wears their hair or wears a hat or wears a specific shirt in support of some sort of band and they get made fun of, guess what you're not going to do? You're not going to wear a shirt, a hat, or whatever that someone else has been made fun of for. You're just not. We learn from other people's mistakes and other people's successes. Mean Girls, the movie Mean Girls, all of you, I assume, seen it. That movie is all based on observational learning. She moves in from Africa and she sees how people interact and how things function, and then she learns from that. She gets a little bit of instruction, mostly quick, like, hey, this is not how it's done. On Wednesdays we wear pink, those types of things, but it's not laid out for her, and that's the biggest thing. That's how a lot of scientists and a lot of psychologists argue, is that we learn mostly by observational, and I agree with that on social aspects. I really do agree that we learn by watching the behavior of the people around us. Now, when we're talking about observational learning, we have to take into consideration learning and performance distinction. When we talk about observational learning, it's the learning that can take place without actual performance of learned behavior. Right now, you see things happening all the time around you. Everywhere you go, things are occurring in different ways, and that's 100% influential and definitely plays a role on what you think and what you see and what you do. However, it is really important to know that just because something happened doesn't mean you immediately use it. It can come back later. For instance, using certain curse words. If you hear someone constantly using one curse word, you're more likely to use it, but that doesn't mean because you didn't use it yourself that you don't know it exists. Okay, that would be an example of learning performance distinction, is the ability to learn something and not use it. And that's a huge key here, is that our society teaches men that women are there for their entertainment to a degree. Slowly society is changing, but I mean, even with the comments from like Donald Trump and saying all these things on that tape, we see that men aren't seeing women on an equal playing field. So of course, none of the men in this room would say terrible things about women and, make jokes about sexual assault. However, just because they didn't do it and they don't think that way, doesn't mean that's not sitting in their head that, oh, that's not a big deal to say that because it's just locker room talk. That it's okay to say that if you're saying it to another guy. That is learning performance distinction. That even though you never used it, then you are aware of that and you can justify and things like that and all those different types of behaviors. So when we talk about observational learning, the most famous experiment is going to be the Bobo doll experiment, and it happens to be one of my favorite. Now, the greatest thing about the Bobo doll experiment is that it's all about learning and observational behavior. Now, some of you always get really upset about how every year I have arguments with kids over whether or not kids should be able to watch R-rated films, and I always have some really interesting arguments based on that. Should kids be able to do it or should they not? And this is the case I always make for it. So, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to turn it on silence. We don't need the jamming music. Okay, so when we talk about Bobo dolls, what we're talking is a woman is sitting out in front of a group of young children, and they are, don't worry, I will be more clear once I get this all under control here. A woman is seen aggressively beating up the Bobo doll. We'll try this again here. So Albert Bandura is the guy behind the Bobo doll experiment. Bandura starts with a B. Bobo doll is the best way to think about Bandura, Bobo doll. So Albert Bandura is going to do this experiment. So he sees that influencing children is going to influence others. So he does a study where he puts a group of kids in front of a TV with a woman beating a doll. And he's going to be the foundation why we have like rating systems and stuff. So he made a film about a female student beating up a Bobo doll. And a Bobo doll is just a blow-up air doll that she's going to kick around and do all different types of things. They have raw footage here in a little bit. But she's going to punch it, kick it, and hit it with tiny hammers, sit on it, and shout aggressively. So they're going to film this and then put it on TV. Okay, so Bandura is going to take this and show this to a bunch of kindergartners, and then they were sent into a playroom. They had every toy that the girl had while in the room, including a Bobo doll. Now, as the kids saw on the TV, the first thing they go to immediately is the Bobo doll. So what happens is the kids see the film of a female student beating up the Bobo doll with hammers, sitting on it, and doing all those different types of things, and then the kids are put into essentially a room very similar to the other one. It has plenty of other toys that they can choose what they want to play with, but of course they go straight for the Bobo doll, and they do a lot of the same actions of what the woman did previous in the film they just watched in what they're doing now. Now, it is important to know that they're going to imitate exactly what the woman did. So, okay, his findings are forming the foundation of the social learning theory, which we're going to get to in week 18. And here are some of the famous clips from the original experiment in 1961. Okay, so here's our female student. That's the Bobo doll. As you can see, she's taking some huge swings, hitting it with a hammer, throwing it upside down. She's kicking it, okay? So she's literally beating the crap out of this Bobo doll, okay? So as she hits it, she picks it up. She's going to sit on it. She's going to punch it. And the kids are watching it. So take a look around the room. You're going to see that there are plenty of other toys to play with. So the kids are immediately go straight for the Bobo doll. And as you can see, they're imitating her behavior almost immediately. Okay, so they're kicking the doll around. They're doing all these different types of things. They're punching it. Okay, they have the hammer just like the woman did as they're beating the crap out of the poor doll. Okay, keep in mind, they have tons of other stuff around. Hey, look at that swing, man. If this kid's not in Major League Baseball, a huge opportunity has been missed. Okay? So he's smacking it with the hammer. He climbs on it just like the woman did. As you can see, hit, attack, punching him in the face. As you can see, he's yelling at the doll. I mean, look at that swing. Seriously, look at it. Bumping it, hitting it aggressively. Once again, he climbs on top of it, all those different types of things. Now we're going to start seeing a little bit more creativity. Now, he found that children were more attracted to the toy guns. Okay, we're going to see that the kids are going to be a little bit more creative with the tools around them. So they start with the foundation of exactly what the adult did, and then they're going to, look at that kid. He is so intense. That poor Bobo doll, man. What did he do to him? Okay, so he is now taking other things from around the room and using it to abuse the Bobo doll. Okay, now with the escalation of picking up a gun, obviously we can see the hostility is more intense, as you saw when he was staring at him. I mean, geez. Now it's not just a boy thing. Here's a little girl. Look at that. She is killing it, man. Look at that. She's great. Fist too. Okay, as you can see, she's mimicking the original one, just smacking it, picking it up, doing all these different types of things, throwing it around. Okay, she's going to take the hammer. She's also going to get a little bit distracted, but don't you worry. She'll be back. Okay, she's going to play with other things, but she will be back. See, now she's getting creative as well. Got a lot of rage. You know, look at that. How cute. All right, she's got a ball that she's now hitting him with. Okay, so as we can see, the kids are clearly mimicking what the adults are doing and then adding their own layer of aggression to it. Not only did they hit the Bobo doll with the hammer and stuff, they are doing it with other tools available to them. And see, she also picks up the gun, and as you can see, she's threatening. As you can see, hopefully you see that with the addition of the gun, it's much more personal. They are shoving it in there. Now she's using a doll. What did the doll do to you, girl? Come on. That doll did nothing. See? All the rage, throwing it up, and she's giggling. She's beating the crap out of this thing, and she's giggling. Okay? Now, every time this experiment's been done, kids beat up the Bobo doll every single time. It does not matter when, what culture, what time period, they always do it. Okay, the children change their behavior without any apparent reward or punishment to motivate them, and that's the key. When people mimic the Bobo experiment, we see that kids will fight back. Now, one of the biggest things is that the children are going to, when they replace the clown with a live clown or someone wearing paint, okay, just like the Bobo doll, kids are going to go in and beat that Bobo doll. And the biggest thing that we learn from observational learning is that what you watch on TV does matter. Little kids should not be watching really dangerous shows with gun violence and physical violence and all those types of things, because kids do replicate it. Every once in a while, and not every once in a while, but, you know, every so often, you always hear of little kids taking guns from their parents and shooting other people. And that is all based on observational learning because they're seeing it on TV. So when we talk about having TV ratings and movie ratings and those types of things, it's really done as a service to protect our kids. Yeah, some of us, when we see, as we get older, we can differentiate between what is real and what is false. Like, for instance, how many of you play that video game where you can literally, you steal cars and you kill people trying to, get away and try to make it through the next thing? Grand Theft Auto, I think is what it's called. Okay, at this point, I hope you know that when you get behind a wheel, you don't go around murdering people and killing people and blowing things up, and the more people you kill, the more points you get. That's not real life. And at this point, you're old enough to distinguish what is make-believe and what is, real life. But the most important thing is that you understand that because you're older and you differentiate that. When a little kid is playing those violent video games, and I'm talking under the age of 10, is really when, at the age 8 to 10 is when people can really start differentiating. Anyone under that shouldn't be playing those types of things because of monkey see, monkey do, observational learning. Kids who come from really rough homes that have domestic abuse, that have drinking and all these other bad things that are occurring there, they are more likely to have that in their own life because those are the behaviors they're going to replicate. Little kids do what they see, and that's exactly why little kids take things from their parents' house to bring them to school. Every once in a while, you have kids bringing drugs from home into school and trying to use those drugs because they've seen their parents doing it. Observational learning. So when you say, oh, my little brother and little sister hears me curse all the time, it's not a big deal, they know they shouldn't curse. No, they don't. And they're going to curse just like you. They're going to behave just like you. So when we are in front of kids, we have to make sure that we're paying attention to what we're saying, what we're doing, and what you're showing them. I know it's easy to just say, oh, they'll be fine because you want to watch something, but please keep in mind that observational learning is definitely a huge part of little kids, and it's also impactful on you. You know, in case you weren't watching any of the debate or any of this election cycle, a lot of the questions coming out is like, how is this affecting our generation? On both sides, whether you're a Trump or a Hillary, both sides aren't making Americans look great right now. And saying the things that each are saying about each other is showing us that it's okay to comment on women that way. It's okay to say terrible things about men. And that's observational learning. Well, if they can do it, why can't I do it? And that's the foundation of observational learning. And that's done by Bandura. So I'm going to switch to your study guide real quick. And we're just going to fill in a couple things together. I hope you liked the Bobo doll experiment. It's one of my favorites. Little kids beating the crap out of a doll. I mean, what else could you want? So when we talk about Bandura, I'm going to start on your focus, just like I picked up yesterday with you. Bandura, he is the founder of the social learning theory. Of observational learning. He believes our behavior is directly tied to what we see others doing. To learn a behavior, it does not require us to mimic it immediately, but can be stored away and used later. Like, for instance, when you see how your parents interact in their marriage, whether you would say it's a successful marriage or not a successful marriage, obviously how to interact with your husband or wife is not affecting you at this age. To the best of my knowledge, I don't think any of you are married. So that's obviously going to be held there, and you're going to have this kind of in your head how parents who are married should interact. In my head, my parents are best friends because that's how my house that I grew up in, my parents are best friends. They work together. They talk together all the time. You can't split them. It's so annoying. My mom did something I hated, I would try to go to my dad and try to get my dad to turn on my mom, and they would never do it. It was so annoying. Now that I'm older, I appreciate it. But now when I was in high school, I hated it. So I came into my marriage thinking that, my husband and I are going to be best friends because that's what I've seen. That's what I've always lived with. So the idea of having parents who are at odds against each other is so strange. Now, McCrae comes from a household where there was no father figure, that his mother was making all the decisions for him and his family, and it was always kind of one-sided. Whatever his mom wanted to do, that's kind of how things worked, and that was it because she was the one who was the only one in the house. So with McCrae and I, it's been, now we're okay because we've been together for so long, but marriage was kind of strange. It was a stressful topic for us because in McCrae's eyes, he's never seen a marriage work. His mom has just got married for the second time when McCrae was 14, and that was really hard for him to move down to Florida and see that marriage work or start, and it was something he wasn't capable of dealing with at 14, moving from Virginia to Florida. Obviously, I think you'd understand that. However, I've always been in a house where marriage does work, so the idea of marriage to McCrae was terrifying because he's never seen an example of it being successful. His parents can't be in the same room with each other. They absolutely despise each other, and all they do is talk crap about each other. His mom tries to be as kind and considerate as possible, but just like you, there's always one person who can get under your skin, and that's him. And that's what we see as observational learning. And McCrae was just like, when we were dating and talking about getting engaged, he was like, I don't know if I can make marriage work. I don't know how to make it work. And I'm on the other side. Well, marriage, of course, works. It's a great institution. It's wonderful. It's fabulous because it does work, because I've seen it. Okay, that's how important observational learning is. McCrae wasn't watching what his mom was going through and being like, wow, marriage is awful. He was living his life and having it. And then once it came to him getting married, that conversation came up again. So it doesn't have to be immediately used. But whatever is going on in your parents' house, whether they're divorced, married, separated, maybe they're divorced and they're working together better, whatever it is, that is affecting you, and that is observational learning. So when you find whoever you want to marry and be with, that is definitely going to have an impact on you. That's observational learning to a huge degree. Now, the Bobo doll, it's observational learning experiment where the adult beat up a Bobo doll in a room that was recorded and shown to kindergartners. The kindergartners went into a room after viewing the adult and immediately began beating the doll. Just like the adult, they even added more violence by including guns and other tools. No reinforcement needed. Okay, so the Bobo doll is an important experiment because, and this was completed by Bendor. Okay, so it's an observational learning experiment when the adult beat up a Bobo doll in a room that was recorded and shown to kindergartners. The kindergartners went into the room after viewing the adult and immediately began beating up the doll just like the adult. They even added more violence by including guns and other tools. No enforcement needed. This was completed by Bendora. Okay, this shows us that we see what happens and we mimic it. Now, of course, little kids beating up a Bobo doll, is that really that big of a deal? No, absolutely not. However, it's a perfect example of how we learn things. Like I said, the marriage example is a perfect one. Different ways of interacting with other people. Your behavior is changed by the people you're surrounded with, and that's exactly what observational learning is. It's a huge part and a major focus. So I like doing the depressed dog with you. So I will be here tomorrow. So I'm going to do that with you. But I do want to take the time right now and kind of flip to the front for a second. Now, when we talk about this, I want to look at The final slide that I have for you this week, which I'm going to put up here in just a second, and this is going to be both on your study guide and on your focus. So you can take this time to get that down right now as I pull it up. So the 4 elements of observational learning is, the first one is attention. If you look on the back of your focus, it's right there, and on your study guide. So attention is to learn anything through observation. The learner must first pay attention to the model. So let's do a little bit of a different experiment, or talk about that's not your bell, that's my bell. Let's first deal with the definition. So how about we focus this on the study guide? So attention is to learn anything through observation. The learner must first pay attention to the model. When we talk about this, okay, we are, how about clothes? We'll use clothes as our example. So your first day of school, you came into school and you were thinking, wow, everyone's being pretty casual. So you're looking around to make sure that your mom didn't dress you to make you look like an idiot. Okay, so you're looking at your friends and you're hearing people say, oh my God, I love your outfit. Like, oh my God, I love your shoes. All those different types of things. Whether they're saying it to you or not, you are hearing people say that, and you are immediately looking at what they're wearing and saying, oh, I like it, or oh, I don't. But immediately you're paying attention to it because you want to know. Second thing is memory. So you hear this experience, so you hear that this girl is wearing these really cute tennis shoes, I guess. And everyone's like, oh my God, I love your shoes. I love your shoes. So all of a sudden in your head, you make a memory of it. And that's what is done. So just remembering what she was wearing that got compliments, what she did in order to get those compliments, or all those different types of things, is thinking how they wore it in the way they did. Because everyone knows whatever clothes you wear, if you wear it in the wrong situation, everyone's going to make fun of you. Like, for instance, if you wear a tuxedo to school tomorrow, yeah, tuxedos are fancy. However, if you wear it in the wrong situation, people are going to make fun of you and be like, why the hell are you wearing a tux? Okay, those are the types of things you need to be aware of. So memory is how it was worn, what it was worn. Imitation, the learner must be capable of reproducing, imitating the actions of the models. Now, some people here at Plant High School are incredibly wealthy, that have access and opportunity to have so much more stuff than a lot of other people do. Some people are on the very low socioeconomic, some people are on the very, very high. So when we see people who are out of our socioeconomic range, we immediately dismiss it, because especially if they're like the Kanye West shoes, oh my God, they're like $600 a pair. Who can afford them? And then probably one of you in here is wearing them. But like, who affords that stuff? So yeah, I may like them, but I can't afford it. However, there's already knockoff styles of Kanye West shoes that people are wearing, and maybe I'll go ahead and buy one of those and see if anyone notices the difference. Some people will, most people won't, and that would be imitation when you try to reproduce. Once something becomes popular, a lot of people are doing it. For instance, eyeliner, when the cat eyes, with everyone doing like the whip out, the little eyelash out thing. Oh my God, I can't figure it out, by the way. But everyone's trying to do it. So people are literally doing makeup tutorials in order to do it. That's imitation. If you're literally stopping and thinking about how to do something, that is imitation. And that's a huge component of observational learning. If you're learning how to talk to girls or guys in social situations, and all the guys will follow around the guy who knows how to talk to girls, and they will listen to how he talks to girls, and then they'll try to replicate it or imitate it, and they'll try talking to some other girl using the same tips they got from listening to that one. That is observational learning. Learning how to dress, learning how to talk to people of the opposite sex, all of that's done by observational learning. No one is born in this world knowing how to talk to the opposite sex. You have to go through and imitate who you think is successful at it. Then you kind of figure out your own way, and that's kind of how the whole system works. Motivation is the next major thing. It's when the learner must have the desire to perform the action. I see people all the time wearing these super high heels every single day, and that's really great for them. Like, that's great. And they are super dressed to the nines, and they look great every single day. That's not my thing. I believe I should look nice at school. I don't think I should be looking try too hard, because I'm a high school teacher and I think it's more important the content I have in my head than what's on my face. I should look appropriate. I should look professional. I should look like I know what I'm doing. However, at the end of the day, I'm a high school female teacher. I should look clean, professional, but I should not try as hard as I do when I'm on my personal time with my husband. I obviously want to keep him looking, so on my time, I dress differently. That's my motivation. I don't try any of the fashion trends here at Plant High School because I don't think it's appropriate. My motivation to dress up incredibly fancy and spend a ton of time showing off my makeup skills that I learned from YouTube, that's not here at Plant, but I do try at home, and I have that motivation where I am trying all that stuff. So motivation is a huge key part of that. And the more motivation we have, the more likely we are to learn from. Now, when we talk about it, we need to think about the motivation that we have behind all of this stuff. So I will be back tomorrow. There's a couple things that I want to pick up and talk about tomorrow with you. I will give you the rest of this time to continue working in class. Everyone should have their study guide out and your focus. I did give you a pretty good head start, so keep working. I cannot wait to see you tomorrow. I have a couple other little videos I do want to show you tomorrow, and I can't wait to talk about learned helplessness. Anyway, have a great day. Thanks for your hard work, and open up your books and keep working to that bell. Have a great day, guys.